to take a hike along the estuaries of the St. Johns River.
And we begin our hike right out of the gate, and we are obviously we're going to see a lot of cattle. There's cow patties all over the place. It's a little bit of a picnic table here. This gate here to the left may have something to do with the cattle industry. When I walked through the gate, I had to close the gate behind me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this main trail, and then it branches off to the left and the right. We're going to take the way that goes to the left. That heads towards the St. Johns River. And then from there, we'll get as close to the St. Johns River as possible. We expect to see some swampy marsh area with these type of grasses that we see here on our right. And at some point it might become impassable. I brought along some waterproof shoes to get me through any shallow areas, but I'm not going to wade waist height. We haven't had much rain here. It's mid-May, and so I don't think the roads will be flooded. I'm also hoping, because it's mid-May, that we're going to see some nice wildflowers in bloom, and we'll see what's ahead of us. On the left side, we see some narrow leaf yellow tops. Zoom in on that a little bit. And there's a series of them, a couple more right here. And then another pocket right here, which is a little bit better state of bloom. And it's got the bee pollinating it. And next to this cattle gate, this is the point at which we take Road 1, heading southeasterly. And we see a lot of sable palm, also known as cabbage palm. And that's, here it's lining on the right side of the road, but farther down, it's on both sides of the road, so we could be entering some sort of palm hammock. And we'll see as we move further along. Another cattle gate. And to my right is a very tall grouping of sable palms. And the density of palms is looks like it's thicker up ahead. Usually that means we're on a little bit higher ground than the marshes surrounding the St. Johns River. To the side of the trail, we have a little patch of marsh pink. It's a pretty wild flower. And we have a little patch of Leavenworth tickseed. And that's very common to see on these trails in Central Florida. All right, this on my left is called creeping thistle. And you can see some of the spurs falling off, and here's a close-up view. And there's more to my left, and this is a marshy, grassy area. And this is a thick, I'll show to my left that it's a very dense palm grove here, on surrounded by them. And that's the habitat at this point. We'll continue on. To my left, I see a salt marsh mallow. A little bit of a closer view of that. And I see another one, or a little grouping of them. Off to this, looks like a small pond, but off to this left side we see some more of the salt marsh mallow. As we continue to head southeasterly, off to my left I can now see the St. John's floodplain. And it looks like we're heading in that direction. And it could be that this palm grove that we've been walking through for half a mile could lead us onto the St. John's floodplain. A little bit larger patch of narrow-leaf yellow tops. Some being pollinated. To the left, we continue to have a dense growth of sable palms. But on our left, we have now, it opens up into the St. John's floodplain. One of the most significant features of the Kilby tract. And we'll take a look at the vastness. St. John's River would be ahead of us here, beyond that little tiny palm hammock. And to our left, we see a little cluster of sea oxeye. Some more growing through the fence. This is a larger plant. It's not like a bush, not necessarily a wildflower. That little patch of sea oxeye is actually a larger growth that extends probably for about 20 yards. Up ahead, we appear to be approaching another grove of palms and maybe some other trees. So I'm just going to give a vantage point of the St. John's floodplain with the grasses in the forefront. A little panoramic view of where we have just passed through over the last quarter mile. And now off to my left, this is Brazilian pepper, and it is an invasive species, and it pops up in large clumps in many of these hiking trails in Central Florida. It's related to poison ivy, and it does make people itch. Some people itch if they touch it. So I'm going to stay away from it and try not to breathe it in too much either. But there's a big patch of it in here. Return to the trail. We continue along this grove of Brazilian pepper. And by the way, the berries seem to appear around November or December, so we don't even see the tiny black berries. Getting my bearings straight here. The gate is closed, there's barbed wire and to keep the cows out. It doesn't say no trespassing, but I'm not going to climb through the barbed wire. Might encounter some bulls. In this direction would be the St. Johns River. It looks like I can continue along the path. It's not as well designed here to the left, which would be heading west. And maybe I will see some wildlife out here. So I'm going to try to trudge through here and see what we encounter in this vicinity. Further we go, heading west, we're now seeing oak. Which that's the first oak that we've seen on this trail. The trail is narrower here. And there's still plenty of sable palms. Thick clump in here. But it's a good place that we could see wild turkey, wild hogs. So we'll keep our eye out. On our left we have a beautiful thicket of sable palm. And it's right next to our first live oak, which is really one of the most magnificent trees in the southeast. The branches, it's a very hard wood, and the branches just sprawl out long distances in many directions. Continuing on the right side we see, for the first time, we see a juniper tree. And give you the scale of this tree. It's over 20 feet, maybe 24 feet. It's a scale leaf juniper. We have another beautiful live oak on our left side, and you can see the Spanish moss all through this middle section. It's amazing branches. On my right is a little stand of palm, and it shows signs of fire damage. You see the stems of the fronds are black, and probably a recent fire. The trunk of the neighboring palm is blackened too. And there are sometimes controlled burns and then sometimes flash fires in the area. Another magnificent live oak, and we're going to pass under its branches. Okay, we've been following this off trail for about a half mile. It has been bordering the barbed wire fence the whole way, and we just I don't see any way for us to go to the left and try to reach the St. Johns River. So at this point we're going to turn around and double back to the St. Johns floodplain and look at that one more time. And so that completes our hike on the Kilby Trail. And the highlight of the trip is the St. Johns River floodplain. Unfortunately, we could not enter to get a closer look at the St. Johns River. To the right, further down, the Econ River feeds into the St. Johns River. That's the largest river that that joins up with the St. Johns River, and then further beyond that is Puzzle Lake, further to the south, and that's where John Bartram thought was the headwaters of the St. Johns River, which it actually turns out it was further south. And if we move further to the north, we have Lake Harney would be beyond, and the St. Johns River feeds into Lake Harney, and beyond there it just continues north up where it meets the Atlantic Ocean at Jacksonville. So if you enjoyed this hike with us, please click like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you on our next adventure.